This is a new concept that we are rolling out today. We're going to try to give you guys some shorter form that covers the current events so that we can focus more on the actual subject that we built this podcast around on the longer episodes.
Yeah, it's like a nice little siphon for our thoughts.
Right. And
spillover.
It keeps us from derailing too hard onto things that are happening. Considering our schedule, you guys will have to see the longer episodes weeks after we record them.
Yeah,
and so the jokes we're making about, up-to-date content is not up-to-date anymore. Yeah. So we're going to do these.
Did you hear Hillary Clinton say, Pokemon go to the polls? That was funny.
Pokemon. Yeah. I was like, for a second, I was like, why is Hillary Clinton coming back up? And then I realized it's old news. But no, I like this idea. I think it gives people a shorter thing to deal with. We're going to call it a dad blast.
That's how we became dads.
That is how we became dads. And it's just going to be our 10 to 15 minute blast each week about what's been happening. We decided to start this before we realized that this was the worst possible week to start this, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Big news that has everything in it.
There's one thing that has obviously conquered the headlines, and that is the death of Charlie Kirk. And I want to just kind of go on record and say that, like, we are not a political podcast by any means. And so it is not really, this is not the setting for us to hash out how we feel. Yeah. I have done so quite a bit on my personal social media pages.
Yeah, you've been battling.
Yeah, I've been going to war because no matter what take you make on this, by the way, you don't win. There are no winners in this scenario.
The only way we would have won is if people were expecting us to talk about the Charlie Kirk thing, and you're like, this is a big week, and then you announce something from Raid Shadow Legends.
Well, I'll let you guys know, Raid Shadow Legends has the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles crossover event going on right now.
Yeah. Cool.
I swear to God, I'm not getting paid for this, so I'm not actually going to do this. But
elephant in the room.
Elephant is in the room, and we can't really avoid it because we just went through to warm up for this. We went through the headlines, and that's all it really is just.
Yeah. What are we going to talk about? Just something that's not that.
Yeah, I mean, we are going to talk.
It was very public. It's political. It does have everything. I'm not trying to explain it like I'm critiquing a film or something, but it is like celebrity type political guy, in public.
Yeah.
And cracker on cracker crime.
Because it's true. Yeah. And but I feel like there is a way to address this from our perspective, which is as dads. And I will say that one of the most important things to keep in mind as a parent in a situation like this, because my kids are not social media age yet, but some people watching this might have kids that are social media age. And I think the important thing to understand is how to approach this with nuance with your children and how to explain to them the realities of the world that we live in now,
and children understand nuance more than you might think, too.
More than you give them credit for, to be honest. Like, it really is a thing that, like, I have explained things to my kid, and then he will put it back to me in plain terms. And I'm like, oh, so you get it. But this is a tricky one, especially from the perspective of a millennial, right? Because millennials in particular witnessed quite a horrific event that was tied to political motivation, and we watched 3,000 people die on TV. And I remember I was in 4th grade, and our teacher rolled in the little TV and put on the news, and she was crying, and I was like, why is everybody so
borderline
sad?
Child abuse. And they didn't show us at our school. They told us, but my 4th grade brain, I just pictured 2 like Orville Wilbur Wright like biplanes crashing into an old building for some reason, and the gravity of it didn't hit till I got home.
Right.
And my mom she was like, obviously she was scared. So kids can sense when you're scared too. And that's one thing about this whole Charlie Kirk thing is, no matter how you feel or whether you agree or disagree, because I'm not going to say I agree with him, but it's still scary.
Yeah.
Hearing and seeing that someone was, executed in public. Like, that's a scary thing to see. So your kid might not know who he is, but they can understand that you're feeling something. And you got to explain to them, like, hey, something scary happened to a guy, and it's got me a little on edge.
And here's the thing. Like, I'm not going to get too into the woods on how I feel about this, because I don't think it's appropriate. We are not a political podcast, and my ambition here is not to kick the hornet's nest on matters like this, okay? Because this is already divisive enough. Is it divisive or divisive? I keep hearing people say it either way.
I think that issue in itself is divisive.
Yeah, I think so too. Right. But I think one thing to really drive home with your kids and everything else is it is okay to react with empathy to a death. But I will say that a lot of millennials, a lot of Gen Z have become desensitized to death. I have seen a lot of death in my life in person and on the internet, right? Like I've witnessed and experienced death in multiple ways. And I've been to a lot of therapy to handle that, but also like I've learned how to compartmentalize these things. And so when I see someone get shot in the neck, and if you've seen the video, everyone wanted to be hopeful, and I get that, but he died. Like, you watched a person die, and I think anybody who had seen death before understood what they were watching. Yeah. And if your children saw that, this is where it gets important to speak on this as parents. You need to talk to them, because our generation has this weight that I think we all trace back to 9/11. And for a lot of us, everything was like, we're like, okay, not really understanding what's happening in the world. And then all of a sudden, every tone in America shifted to a political one. And for a while, we were all patriots, right? Like, everybody bled red, white, and blue.
You can still feel the chills that you got on back of your neck and everything.
Yeah, and I know we're talking a lot about 9/11 and the anniversary of 9/11. It was, 24 years ago?
Yeah.
Which is insane. But this happened the day before 9/11, which is, I don't know if it was orchestrated that way or what, but the point is not to, like, the point that I was trying to make with all that before I derailed on my own personal story is that tragedy is something that we will not see any less of. And the problem that we face as millennials and Gen Z parents is that our children will now have almost immediate access to whatever footage there is, if it exists, right? And I remember, like, do you remember the Super Bowl where Justin Timberlake exposed?
Yeah, because I was in the Janet kitchen Jackson getting snacks and I missed it, and everyone else saw it.
And you were bummed for life.
And then the Panthers lost.
So wow. What a bummer for you.
That was just a microcosm of my life right there that evening.
The worst possible events. That was your personal 9/11?
Yeah, it was.
And I'll say, like, as millennials and Gen Z, we are resilient. We've learned how to make that event a joke, right?
Yeah, that's what I was going to say, too, about the whole thing is your kids are going to see the video. Don't let them get away with dissociating from it and maybe putting it in their minds as a real gamer moment or something. Right. You know what I mean? Like, don't let them dissociate. Let them know it's real. This happened. You got to feel it.
And as two people who use comedy as coping tools, it's okay to... sometimes people will turn things into a joke, and sometimes people will laugh at those things.
A lot of the best comedy comes from fear.
It does. Fear and like, pain.
People who love dark humor too, the ultimate fear of death. Like, a lot of those jokes hit. They get the groan because it just makes you feel like everybody else is feeling something about it.
Right. And again, what I want to address with this podcast is how to handle it. You don't have to worry about bringing your children into a political landscape, okay? Like your kids are kids, let them be kids, okay? And it's the same exact thing about handling tragedy and how we view it, and teaching your kids that empathy is I've lost all my sense of empathy. And if I'm going to be real with you, like,
you just start beating the shit out of me right now. Because I believe you.
No, but like when I witnessed what I witnessed, like I could already feel the little compartment in my brain opening and just shoving it in there, and I felt nothing.
Me too. Yeah.
And it's I feel like that's almost worse than me going, I'm glad, because I was like, that's a thing that happened, and I don't want that for my children. I don't want that for our next generation. We'll talk about football in a few minutes to wrap this up, because we're going to have to cut this with something a little lighter hearted, and my Bills won, so I'm going to do my victory lap. But football is a team sport. Politics is not. Those fucking people work for us, and you need to understand that political voices are tools of the people to continue to bolster their demographics. But politics are politics, and what people decide to bring and put out into the world, especially as political figureheads, can and often is destructive when the rhetoric is violent. And so you also need to approach the way you talk to your kids about that stuff, because now we do have to worry about, oh, my kids are being exposed to politics and I didn't want them to yet, because now fucking Charlie Kirk clips are everywhere. It's insane to me that they couldn't even let his body get cold before both sides of politics were coming up with conspiracy theories.
That was before he even hit the ground.
Yeah, like, it was insane how quickly they worked. And I do want to touch on one thing that was wild to me, because there's an image, a screenshot of an Amazon book that's going around.
Oh,
and it was
I saw that
published
too.
Like the same day. And I just want to explain to everyone who might not know this. AI is an insanely cracked tool to produce whatever garbage nonsense you want to produce in record time. So if someone is paying top tier for an AI service, that's how they produce that book so quickly. Okay?
And you can also change the date on book publishings on Amazon too.
Oh, that's
apparently.
You have family that works are authors, so you would know that. And I assumed
that was the most like simple explanation I saw online. It was like, you can just change the publish date.
I didn't even think about that fact. My whole thought was like, damn, the internet works fast, but like also
AI works faster.
Yeah, AI, and it's also, I'm pretty sure when you do Amazon postings, if you're a business, you can change the title, the thing, and like completely.
They'll let you do whatever you want.
Yeah. Completely alter the post. So that was probably like a fucking Labubu. And then they were like, now it's a book about Charlie Kirk.
Charlie Kirk Labubu.
Yeah. But anyways, we said what we're going to say.
Yeah.
But I am going to take my victory lap before we wrap this up.
Yeah.
And the Bills had the most insane week 1 game. The comeback, it's the comeback of the season already for sure.
Week 1.
Week 1.
Wrap it up.
Set the bar.
We're done.
Unclearable.
Football is unwatchable in the next 17 weeks.
Nah, I mean, our game today is going to be much more relaxed. They're playing the Jets, so
you're on vacation this week. That's cool. I'm a Panthers fan. I live in hell. That's all I'm going to say. That's good.
Yeah, but my Bills did great.
Good for you.
Shout out to Josh Allen, who is the MVP of our hearts too.
Yeah, Midwestern Jesus.
He is. I love how in the football episode I was like, I get, like, Josh Allen, I just like him a lot. And I was like,
if he was a billionaire, you'd simp for him. You'd be like, no, he's different.
And it turns out that he is my Taylor Swift, and I moved the goalposts for him.
You're an Allen-y. You're not a Swiftie. You're an Allen-y.
But God, he's doing great things for my Bills, so I hope we never lose him. But anyways.
Dude, you could have just done a massive jinx right there.
Oh, where's Wood?
Protect his ACL.
God bless.
You're going to have to go give him a warm-up massage
to be fair,
on his ACL.
In the context of, I hope we never lose him, that was more of like, I hope the Bills never get rid of him.
They gave him a big contract. He'll be there for a little bit.
Shit, they better.
He knows that he's all that city has.
This is giving
He's a forgiving God.
Yeah, this is giving me like...
He's like, I'll take your mortal contract and
early
stay
Ben
here.
Roethlisberger vibes.
Yeah.
Where before Big Ben just ate shit, like he was doing a bunch of shit for Pittsburgh.
He was a big guy who was a gunslinger.
And he stayed until he wasn't worth a fuck anymore.
Yeah.
But my fear is, but after Ben Roethlisberger, Pittsburgh had a hard time finding anybody who could do what he was doing.
It's really hard to find a quarterback after you've had one for so long in the organization. You just go through a bunch of guys, and then finally you find the one that clicks. And if you're the Panthers, it's decades later, I guess. I don't know.
My concern is that after Josh Allen, which, again, dude's in his prime, like, I don't think that he has... I think his vision right now is season to season. Like, he's just trying to be the best he can, pull his Bills through, which is good, but... what I'm saying is I gotta enjoy this while it lasts, because once he decides to hang it up...
You need to realize you're in the good old days before you leave them.
Right, exactly. That's the best way to put it. But anyways, we're gonna have to trim this up, because I know I'll probably keep it 15 to 20 minutes by the end of the trimming, but this is our dad blast. So this is something that, again, we are trying. It's a shorter format, so it's a little more palatable. I'm sorry that this first episode just happened to land on a week where
sorry for the formula. Things happen during week, we talk about them.
Right, and that's what it is. Sorry that it just happened to be on such a divisive issue, but I promise you, as we
maybe something fun will happen next week. I just cursed everybody. Whoops, sorry everyone.
9/11/2 happens.
9/20.
You fucking. But yeah, I hope this format gives just a little more of something, so that we can get away from talking about current events in the main episodes. We can focus on dad sort of themes, but
more fun, dad, keeping it light.
Right, and this gives people something in the middle of the week to also kind of just think about, and
just ponder,
mull over. But if you guys like it, do us a favor and put it in the comments. If you've watched this so far, like and subscribe, because you're obviously either running the hate recorder or you are kind of like, all right, I'll hear them. But either way, there's an investment, so you need to go ahead and like and subscribe. Again,
you're on the bottom floor of the investment. Come on.
But just comment below if you guys like this format, and if you do, we'll continue to also focus our efforts into this. I know we're doing a lot of stuff and we're making a lot of changes all the time, but we are just trying to find that sweet spot to give the content that our committed base deserves, right?
Yeah.
I think
you gotta give the people what they need.
Yeah. So anyways,
people only have so many hours during a day to listen to podcasts. So if someone's taking an hour to listen to ours, like, they have to get the tip-top treatment.
Right.
Like the best underground
comedy podcast.
Yeah, it's got to be good. So,
but tune into our full-length episodes every Sunday. We try to release them around 8 p.m.
Yeah,
but it depends on how the renders work.
Being a dad, times are ballparked.
And just, again, comment, tell us how you're feeling about things. Let us know what's going on. And we'll see you guys on the next episode or the next Dad Blast, whatever.
Yeah, Thanks. Either or. Hopefully both.
Hopefully both.